Thank you for visiting West Coast Auto Enthusiast. Today we're featuring a 1984 Toyota Landcruiser FJ60. It's a clean title, clean Carfax car. Ironically, it originated in Oregon. Spent most of its time in Oregon and Washington, and then I think ended up in Virginia for a short while. So anyways, it's obviously heavily modified. It's totally functional off-road or rock crawler. I've sold a bunch of these. Usually the ones I've sold have been, with the exception of mine, my personal rig, most of them have been more original and unmodified. This is heavily modified. It's completely different. It's got Dana 60 axles. It's got super nice suspension on it. I have pictures and documentation of the build. So it was on Bring a Trailer. It did not sell. Sold the first time on Bring a Trailer, and then the guy that bought it wrapped it, so that's a camo wrap. The undercarriage doesn't look like there's any rust on the rig. There is some minor cosmetic damage, but again, this is a rig that has been built to be used. We replaced the tires on it that were 35s with 40s. So these are Patagonia Milestars, and they're brand new, so they've got no mileage on them. You can see, you know, in here. And the undercarriage looks great. So obviously custom bumpers, custom rock sliders. You have a swing arm. You have a tow hitch. Put a full-size spare on that. It's $1,800 worth of tires before they were installed. So those were not cheap, but worth doing, we think. So there's your swing arm and high lift jack. And there's your bumper tow hooks. You have a plug for the tow package, you can see. So a lot of times you'll have rust down here on the bottom of these. They collect water if they're stored outside. So this has been in a dry climate, or definitely has been garage, because they don't look like this if they've been outside at all. It's got 202,000 miles on it. So we have like 4 sets of mats for this thing. Or mats and covers. So we have a full set of the faux sheepskin covers, which are actually nice for the driver and passenger side. We also have a there's one in there for the rear bench. I bought extra material for the seats and patched the driver's side bolster. So I've got a bunch of that. Got waterproof neoprene covers also. So they put an aluminum panel here to replace the fabric stuff. You can see the headliner. So the headliners, obviously, it had to have been replaced because they don't look like that. They, at the minimum, usually have staining. So this, you've got a clip here and then a pin here. That works. So you lift that up, slides in, and then you drop the pin in here, and that seals it. So this will hold 3 5-gallon fuel tanks. Got a brake light here. So cosmetic damage here, and so again, this is a functional rig. I mean, if you're going to buy this, it really makes sense to use it. It isn't like the other stuff I've sold that was just nice and it was more nostalgic than this. This is definitely, I think it's about 10 or 12 grand in parts just alone underneath in the suspension before you even get to the labor part. And they've done everything very well. The right components were used. It's powered by a 5.7 liter V8, and that's a Vortec. It is carbureted. It's got a 4-barrel carburetor on it. I've got the specs on that. So that's an ARB front bumper with a Evo 10 Warren winch. So it's got steering assist on it. I mean, it's just built to use, and so cosmetically, you know, it isn't like, I mean, it's actually in pretty good shape, but I guess it depends on what you're looking for. The interior panels are all in really good shape. The carpet's in really good shape. You know, the trim, the camo of the wrap does match the interior paint. So you can see the bench sheet is good, and then we do have cover for this. And then if you pull this out, so I mean, that's clean for a 60 of this year. So same is true here. I've got a speaker. I can't keep these wire mesh. I had one the same. I don't know why they don't want to stay on there. So door panel, and then you'll be able to see there's a slight difference in color here. So this is, I replaced this, we re-padded this, fixed this. The rest of it's in pretty good shape. I mean, it's faded and dirty, but certainly not in need of repair, but we've got the fabric to do it if we wanted to. You do have a front and a rear locker here. This is your fuse box. So I'll get in and start it up. So passenger side door, I mean, I have pictures of all this. Passenger side seat, clean. The dash is not cracked. And I don't think it doesn't look like a cover to me. You usually have, I put a cover on mine eventually, or actually the guy that I sold it to put it on. And it's usually kind of thick. So you do have tweeters up here. So you do have a nice stereo system, you have nice speakers. This thing started. So it starts right out. Sounds great. It's nice. So gauges are working, odometer works. Let me turn the lights on. Speedometer, odometer works, tachometer works. Your gauges are all operational here. Signals, of course, work. Your lights are on. Hazards work. So Tuffy center console, which if you're familiar with these, that's a locking center console. You have a brake assist here. It is a 5-speed transmission. It's got different gears in it. It's got a really low first gear. Make sure the AC works. But everything else is clean. I mean, it's super nice for what it is. Yeah, the AC blows cold. So, horn works. I replaced my Toyota horn with a two-tone. I just couldn't deal with that. But anyway, super nice. I've got I have pictures of the engine bay and compartment if you have questions about that. They did that right. They put there's a thermostat in there to help with the heat, and there's an auxiliary, couple auxiliary coolers. So everything was done really well on this thing. Super nice rig. By far the largest cruiser I've had in my shop, and pretty well done. If you have questions or would like additional information, please feel free to contact us. We can be reached at 503-227-2354, and thank you for visiting West Coast Auto Enthusiast.